Hello and welcome to the show. This is our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling, and just about anything and everything that's going to keep you inspired. Welcome to the show. So this is also a place with no gatekeepers, no criticisms, just here to keep you inspired, to keep you writing, to keep you thinking about pens and journaling and inks and anything else that comes along that's really fun and interesting. So I see that there's a lot of people here in the live audience. It's always fun doing this live. I get to watch the chat go by. I see a lot of fun conversations, which is great. Sort of look at this almost like a radio show. I wonder if there's a way to take calls. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? I should look into that. But I can barely handle the technology that I'm already using. Always have trouble going from my intro into the show because Ecamm is terrible at transitions. I can't see whether or not my mic is live until about 10 seconds in, and that's a lot of time. So how is everyone tonight? I hope everyone's happy, keeping warm. It's really cold here in the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but things are good. I cannot complain. So I should talk about which pen I've been using. I've been very much enamored with the Montblanc Bohème, the amazing Bohème, the charming and incredible and interesting Bohème. Just an odd pen that went out of production about 10 years ago. You can still find it around, but it's lovely, and it's a fantastic way to carry a beautiful pen around you with a fantastic nib without it taking up much space. So I had a lot of fun with this pen. So here's a question for you all, and please go into the comments and let me know so I can take a poll. I am a little particular, and I have a hard time disturbing things as I found them. So if I find something and it has a particular nib, or it's a particular type of setup, converter, cartridge, I have a little bit of trouble changing things up. Now, I can usually handle cartridge and converters, but in this case, this pen, although it was used, still had the M for the medium nib on it. So it still has this sticker. And I really think I should take it off. And I intend to take it off, but I haven't taken it off. So I know when I do it, I actually may ask my wife to do it because I am not good at stuff like this. And you need to know where your strengths and weaknesses are. And I am not good at anything that requires a bit of finesse and dexterity, so I would be a little concerned that I might damage it, scratch it somehow. Though I know how to fix it if it gets scratched. You can use Polywatch and it'll shine it right back up, but still, why go through that? So do you think I should take off this M, or should I leave it on? And it's like my sense of order is kind of telling me to leave it alone. This is how I found it. This pen has... this is probably an early version of this pen, so this pen could be 20 years old, and it's made it this long with this M on there, but it's just unsightly and odd, and I filmed with this pen. You're going to see some mentions of this pen on the channel in the month of March, and it's still on there, folks. So give me some good advice, won't you? Let me know what you think. I see some folks in the comments are like, rip it off now, says Raven. I'm going to put that up there. Miss Marilyn Darling says, leave it on. Leave it on. Wolfgate Witch says, I haven't taken any of my Pilot stickers off. I have a Pilot Falcon that I bought when it first came out with the flex nib. And I've never taken the sticker off. It's still on there. So maybe I should. Gino says it will break if I take it off. The great John Manuel says, take it off. Phil Munson says it's part of the pen's history. That's how I feel. I feel like it's part of its history, and I'm upsetting it a little bit. So let me tell you about the show, and then I'm going to get into all the different things I want to talk about tonight. Tonight on the show. So our main topic is, do fountain pen companies have a QC problem? And I want to explain sort of how I approach things and just sort of talk about my impressions and what this means. And I mean it in a very real sense, that if there's a product out there and it has issues and they're not being properly addressed, it's a big problem. And I think we should talk about it. So that's our main topic. But there's so much more to talk about, guys. There's so many other things. You know, I would like to mention that if you're watching this show every week and you haven't subscribed, please do. Introduce yourself in the comments. I'd love to get to know you. And if you want to support the channel even more, membership is available. We're doing a lot of fun stuff. We're doing a Pen Pal group for Cognoscenti and Illuminati members. And we do Zoom meetings. We just had a Zoom meeting on Sunday, right? Today's Tuesday, so a couple days ago. So we do those on occasion. So we do a lot of really fun stuff. So consider it, if you would. Also, did anybody send me this? You know, this showed up in the mail a couple days ago, and I actually haven't Googled it to see exactly what it is. It looks like it's ink. It's from India, which is exciting. It's called Celica. I must have given my address to someone because it showed up. And I know that sounds a little flighty, but things come. Things come. They come through the door, and I don't always know where they come from. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. And this one came, and I'm interested to dive in. I opened it. It looks like there's a little jam jar of what appears to be ink. Little jam jar. Love it. Beautiful label. I'll be honest, I haven't heard of the brand, but I'm dying to dig in. And a little eyedropper guy. So super excited. I think that's all that's in here, but that's only taken sort of the top of it. But I'm really excited to dive in. Now, this is dated November, and it was in customs for a long time. It was stuck in customs for a long time, and then it was stuck at my post office for a long time before I went there and picked it up. So I'm just not entirely sure who sent it. So if you sent it, let me know. In any case, you'll see it on the channel soon. I'm excited about it. Another thing I'd like to talk to you about is my journal. I've been using this particular journal for a long time. This is a journal from Bottega Obscura. You guys know that I am absolutely mad about his journals that he hand makes in Italy. And this one, boy, look at the wear on that. Isn't it gorgeous? See how it's darker here and a little worn here? I think that might be from me putting it in my bag, maybe carrying it around with my hand. But it's got this interesting tooling. It sort of looks like something from medieval times. I don't know if that's I thought that might be a Grim Reaper, but I think it might be some kind of bishop or something. I really don't know, but it's really interesting. Some really nice decorations, all done by hand. There's like a griffin down here. This is a griffin. So is this, I think. And then this looks like a Grim Reaper. This sort of looks like some kind of death figure. Sort of reminds me of the Pardoner's Tale, if you're familiar with Chaucer, the Pardoner's Tale, about the men who go in search of death, to destroy death, and it doesn't work out well for them. That's what that reminds me of. So it has this sort of feel to it. There's a bit of gold on this beautiful spine. You can see my initials, my actual initials. I have an actual name. And you can see the beautiful gold fittings. And then the back cover's as interesting. So why am I showing you this? It's also got a nice piece of leather. Not just to talk about how beautiful it is, although it is. Look at the edges. These are textured. And then this beautiful paper. Look at that, huh? So, gorgeous book. I can go through one of these fairly quickly. But the reason I'm sharing this is I started this in November of 2022. And I'm only about halfway through, which is very odd for me. Because I usually go through a journal like this in a year. And this has been over a year and I'm about halfway through. So, different paces for different journals. But I can tell you, I am writing very, very small. Very, very small. And why? Because I like it aesthetically. I like the way it looks aesthetically. Now I'm recording in 4K, so I hesitate in showing you because you might be able to pause it and read it, but it's small. So there you go. I'm sure it's very boring, whatever that was, if you go to the trouble of blowing it up. But just amazing how sometimes you can just fly through a journal, and then other times it can be something where it really spends a lot of time with you. And there's a lesson in this, and that's choose your journals wisely, because it can be with you for a very, very long time. And I adore this journal. I adore it. It's perfect. I like this size because it's easier for me to write in. Especially all the weird places I journal. It's nice to just open it and you can get your hand in there and you're good. A smaller one can be tough to write in. It is heavy though. It's like carrying a hardcover book around with you because it's a hardcover book. So if you don't like that, you might want to do something smaller. Now the reason I get leather is that I found in my journaling career and being a person who is older and has been around for a very long time, that my paper journals didn't survive. They just didn't survive all the years. And my leather journals did. The ones that look like they're valuable, you tend to keep. Now, these are not cheap. I'm not entirely sure how much these are. We're friends now. And he's such a lovely guy. He sends me like at least one a year, which is just lovely of him. But I'm guessing this is somewhere in the $300 plus range. But think of all the joy I got out of this. And I've had it for over a year and I'm still going to have it for some time to come. And it's recording very important parts of my life. So there you have it. There. Okay. Just one thing. Okay. So that's the thing about journaling. Just really keep it in mind that you're going to have it for a very long time. Very long time indeed. So another thing about the channel, and I think it's probably really important to say, and that's that I am not selling you pens, and I know you've heard me say this before, but I don't care if you buy a pen or not. I don't care if you purchase anything that I show you. I'm showing you these things because I love them. For me to show them, I must have a lot of affection for them. And that's my impetus. I can't talk about something that I'm not super excited about. So for me to get motivated and to make a beautiful video, I really need to be like on top of it, like absolutely motivated and just psyched about it. And I am not looking for you to purchase. I'm just looking to share my joy of these items with you. And I think sometimes I do get into the language of sales sometimes because so much of the world is really affected by kind of disingenuous connections in marketing. And I'm going to give you a couple of explanations of what I think this is. You take someone like J. Peterman. Do you guys know who J. Peterman is and all about the Peterman catalog? Have you seen it? And know anything about like Seinfeld and all that, the connections there? Well, J. Peterman has this really charming catalog, and it's sort of curated items from around the world. But, well, before we get into that, let me explain a little more what the items are. So it'll be something like take what I'm wearing right now. Okay, this is a Guernsey, from Guernsey, and it's a fisherman sweater. They've been making these for at least 100 and some years there. They have a whole history of how they make them. The other thing nice about this sweater is it's the same front and back, so you can just swap it. And it sort of spreads out the wear, if you will. Thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate that. So Peterman would have a sweater like this, and he would talk about Guernsey, and it would be written in very flowery language, like, cold walks by the seashore. Wrap yourself in a wool sweater that was knit by a grandmother who knit it for her son who works on the docks, shucking oysters and all this. So it spins this incredible tale of the sweater and romanticizes it in a very interesting and very lofty language way, and it gets you very much involved in the story and the romance of it. But then you read the descriptions and it's like Guernsey style sweater, 100% acrylic, imported. And it's like, okay. And then they want $200 for it, USD. And you realize that you could buy something like this from Les Tri Couture for $135, and it's the real thing. Like, why wouldn't you want the real thing? Instead, there's all this marketing, this sort of disingenuous presentation. And I guess I wouldn't want what I do, which is the romanticizing part of it, to fall in with the salesmanship part of it, because I am not looking to sell you anything. I just want to share this with you. Another example of that sort of disingenuous marketing is Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren used to go into a friend of mine's shop in Boston, Bobby Gurnett. He owned a shop in Boston called Bobby's from Boston. And Bobby, years ago, before anyone was doing this, came up with the idea of going mostly to the UK and going to estate sales and thrift shops and everything else and buying massive amounts of vintage clothing from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and some 60s, and a lot of old stuff too, even some Edwardian items and whatnot. And Bobby built a vintage clothes empire that movie producers and wardrobe people would go there and they would borrow items or buy items for productions. And I used to buy some vintage clothes there. Sadly, Bobby passed away. That must be at least 6-7 years ago. But his shop is still there. And his big warehouse in Lynn is still there. So it's still going strong, which is very, very happy to hear. Very good. So one of his biggest clients were the buyers for Ralph Lauren. And I know this because I've had dinner with them. So I know this for a fact. And they would show up with Bobby, go over there, buy some items. And then a year or so later, they'd show up in the, Ralph Lauren catalog as a repro of these really interesting vintage items. Now, sometimes Ralph Lauren would make stuff really nice. Like some of it was from Italy and it was meticulous, but a lot of it, as you know, is not. But once again, you could get the actual original item. I guess the one thing nice about fountain pens is there's not too much false fronts in fountain pens, right? Fountain pens are what they are. There's not a fake fountain pen. that I can imagine. But if you do find yourself romantic about a hat or a jacket or whatever, go for something good. Go for something original. Go for something that's going to last. And buy things with romance and with a connection. But don't buy just the story. Buy the thing. Especially if you do that, you keep a whole industry alive. You know, barber coats, the original barber coats, are still made in England. The original lineup. The Bedale, the Border, and the Beaufort. And maybe some others, but definitely those. So keep that industry alive. L.O. Bean boots are still made in Maine. If you don't own a pair of L.O. Bean boots, you should. Okay, I'm way off of fountain pens now, so I'm going to change the subject. But I just wanted to make the point that the channel's about ideas. That this channel, I could review pens, and then I'm sort of competing with everyone else who reviews pens. And I think a lot of other people probably review pens better than I do. I am about the history, the connection, the narrative, the way a pen makes you feel, who you become when you write with that pen, what your aspirations are, or mine. I make it very personal. I lay bare how I feel about it. Why a Montblanc 149? What's the history? You plunge into the history of the pen as you use it. It's part of the experience. Now, many people don't care about any of that. And I think that that's fine. They're not meant for this channel. This channel is about romance and history and craftsmanship and people bearing their souls and people being generous with their knowledge and people being kind to each other in the comments and in the chats. This channel is kind of it's not kind of, it is a very strong community of like-minded people that are looking for inspiration that we share constantly. And I just feel like I'm one of you guys. I absolutely do. Oh, good. Shane says it's an interesting topic. I feel like I'm rambling, so I appreciate it. But these kind of distinctions are important because I think you might get lost if you come here looking for how much a pen weighs. If you want to know how much a pen weighs, go to the website. I actually thought of buying a scale because I don't trust what they post, but still, I think it's more important that we talk about if it's heavy, if it's well balanced, how it sits in your hand. I think that's a bit more important. Excuse me one second. My voice is a little off. You probably hear it, but I'm hanging in. So, oh, good. I'm getting some nice comments from you guys. Thank you. I'm really glad you enjoy the channel. It's very important to me. Ben Joe, my man. The lovely and talented Ben Joe Markland with $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. He says, wait, Hemingway Jones does pen reviews? I thought it was the poetry and romance channel. Thank you. You know, I'd rather you thought that. I really would. I'm not always successful in what I set out to do. I think sometimes I'm very ambitious. And Benjo, thank you very much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. You already do so much for this channel. Benjo sets up the Zoom meetings. He's just a lovely guy. And he listens to me when I'm ranting in private, so through email, but still. Thank you, my friend. So I don't always land the plane in one piece. And I feel like some of my videos that I personally feel like didn't quite do it. They were slightly off the mark, or they didn't completely deliver on what they promised, are some of my best ones. I kind of like when it gets a little chaotic. You know, last year I wrote one about writing a love letter, and I'm not sure that worked, but it was very ambitious, and I was very proud of myself for trying. If you need some inspiration, though, about writing a love letter for Valentine's Day, it's out there. So it's from last year. So go for it if you would. If you would. So I'm looking through my notes here. It's funny. I write bullet points for the show just to remind myself to make sure I am hitting every topic I want, but I do it so out of order. I've started doing this with my videos too, that I used to write a script and sometimes I'd read a script, especially if I'm not on camera. But what I've been doing now when I record my videos is I write bullet points and I touch, okay, these are the things I want to say, and maybe I have a nice turn of phrase and I'll include that. And then I just ad lib it and I just keep the take I like. And I put that in the font. It makes it a lot more spontaneous than having just a script, I think. I like that. Speaking of which, we have a new video this Thursday, and it's on Tom Studio, a pen from Tom Studio called The Future of Writing. I have seen The Future of Writing, and it is Tom Studio. Thursday at noon. I hope you like it. I do. I think it's a really good video, and I think it's really interesting. And I love Tom Studio. So I hope you guys like that one. It's exciting. It's always exciting having a new video. Never know which video is going to be popular. Never. So my most popular video I've ever done, and I've never gone viral. This channel's never gone viral. But, you know, it's just how it goes. We're still young. It's only 2 years. We have time. We have time to go viral. My most popular video is on the one on crosswriting. Discover a lost cursive writing style. I did that video for Tuesday night because I wasn't going to be here that night. And I wanted you guys to have something to watch that was similar to the live show. And I cranked out that video. I had been working on crosswriting and I was like, oh, maybe I'll unveil it. I was saving it for a full-fledged, Hemingway Jones video. But I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it for Tuesday night. And it ended up, it's close. It's the highest. It beat all my guitar review videos from like 7-8 years ago that were still up on my channel that had the most views. None of my fountain pen videos ever matched my guitar review videos, which are still way back. If you scroll way back, they're there. Same sweaters, same me, different camera, not as one shot, just that. Very unsophisticated, but there they are. Did better than any pen video I ever did. So until now, I finally beat it. Oh, I see a lot of kind words about crosswriting. Debbie Pogorski, crosswriting is cool. I need to try it. Well, Allie J has tried it. I got a letter from Allie J today, done in crosswriting. Allie J, by the way, the master letter folder, did a crosswriting letter to me much better than any example I've ever done. So much better. It's beautiful. Absolutely well done. I'd show you, but I can't because it's a letter, That would be impolite. But just trust me, won't you? It's done in 2 different colors. She used onion skin paper, which is really cool. And it's absolutely brilliant. So I quite like it. So well done. See a lot of people saying, I still have to try crosswriting. BJ, us pen geeks love to learn new stuff. Yeah, me too. We have some new more. There's a lot of new more coming. So I think you're going to like some of the directions the channel's going in. We're doing more on inks. I have an absolutely epic and ambitious ink video coming up. It's so ambitious and so epic that I've decided I cannot record it in one day. So it might be the first video where you see me wearing multiple clothes because it's going to be a process, this one. But I am so psyched. It's so interesting. It'll probably won't. The irony is it might not be very popular, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. So I think you will love it. I really do. Okay. Should we talk about our main topic? I think we should. And I think it goes into the channel a bit as well. So this channel I would call sort of curated. I bring you things that I think you would enjoy. And I feel like you're probably someone like me who enjoys certain things that revolve around the gravity of journaling, fountain pens, and inks. So if it's tangential but closely associated, I think you'll enjoy it. Like the occasional typewriter video, or maybe a travel video that's in disguise as a journaling video. I think you'd enjoy that. It's entertainment after all. This channel's entertaining. I hope. It aspires to be entertaining. And I feel like I always look at my mind like I need to curate my mind. I try not to fill my mind up with a lot of nonsense. I don't watch stupid things if I can help it. Occasionally I'll veg out and do some things, but I don't spend time on TikTok these days for this reason. TikTok has an algorithm that intentionally shows you things you don't like so that you interact with it. So it used to show you things you liked. So it used to be very enjoyable. You're a fountain pen lover. Your whole feed was fountain pens. And it was really fun. You made a lot of new friends and you learned new things you might not have known because it was expanding your world. Well, TikTok learned the secret that a lot of social media is learning. And that is, if you give people what they hate, they'll respond to it much more vociferously than they would if it was something they like. So if you give somebody something they like, they go, oh, that's nice. If you give somebody something they hate, they're going to interact, they're going to come back, they're going to pound on it more. Well, I have no desire to spend my time on a platform that shows you things you hate. And that's what TikTok does. YouTube does it. YouTube shows you what you like. So you get a lot of really nice things in your feed. My feed is full of movie reviews, editing guides, a lot of how to edit in Final Cut Pro, and a lot of Roman history and other history. That's what my YouTube looks like. It's funny, it keeps recommending myself to me. And I feel like I need to watch it because I'm like, I'm not helping myself if I don't. So it's that Malkovich, being John Malkovich thing, where it's like, oh, look, it's Hemingway Jones. Wait, that's me. And then you watch it, and it's like, oh, dude, I listened to you all day. There you are again. Judy Anderson, thank you so much. Judy Anderson with a $13.99 Canadian super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another person who is so supportive and wonderful for the channel. Thank you. Means the world to me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. The great Judy Anderson. Thank you. So, in curating this channel, I bring to you certain items. Fountain pens mostly. When I review a pen, I get feedback. And for some reason, fountain pens can be polarizing. I don't understand how angry some people get about a fountain pen. You know, I can understand it about a watch, because I do watch some watch content. Watches are commodities. Watches have an inherent value. So a lot of people's self-image and their investment and their wallet is wrapped up in a watch. If you buy a Rolex Submariner and you spent $15,000 for it on the secondary market, and there's somebody who posts a video about how it's only going to be worth $11,000 next year, you might get angry. And I can at least relate to that, because you're thinking, you're fearful. Usually any criticism comes out of an insecurity, right? And in that instance, you feel, oh no, I might lose $4,000 of perceived equity in this watch or whatnot. That is not the case with fountain pens, right? So by and large, most fountain pens, you buy it for whatever it is. In many cases, it's worthless on the secondary market. In many cases, but not all. It seems like fountain pens that cost, say, $300 and up tend to keep about 2/3 of their value, generally. This is huge generalization. Feel free to excoriate me in the comments if you disagree. So if you buy a Pilot Custom 823 and you want to sell it a year from now, you could probably get $200 for it, generally. If you bought a TWSBI Eco and you try to sell it, you're going to have a tougher time because it's $30. Why don't I just buy a new one by the time you ship it to me? Even pens that are around 200, they tend not to hold their values as much. I've seen Pilot E95S's for like $70. That's about half, right? Let's just say. However, some pens do have quite a bit of value after the fact, and some of them are weird pens. Some of them are not. Take something like a Waterman 52, full size with a flexible nib. I mean, back in the day, in the 1920s, 1930s, maybe it was, I don't even know, $5? And some of those can go for $1,000 now. Now that's a long time to get that kind of equity out of your money, but that can happen. There's actually, on Peyton Street Pens right now, there's I believe it's a Parker Duofold, full size, in beautiful yellow, that's going for $700. So if you go to a lot of estate sales and you bought that pen and you restored it, maybe you put $50 in it, you bought it for $100, maybe you bought it for $25. There is some room there. I don't know if they'll get $700, but it's a nice pen. And then there's like Mont Blanc, right? You get something like the Hemingway edition, near and dear to my heart. I had a chance to buy one back in the day and I didn't. Now they go for about 3 times their value. They were about $1,000, I think, at the time, and now they're like 3, even in bad shape. Although the Bohems, they're accessible. You can get one for, well, actually, you can get one for like $800. And that's probably about what they cost at the time. So, it's a very roundabout way to say there is less money in the fountain pen world. There are less commodities. There are more tools that we use and we love. And then we usually give them away to someone when we're done with them, or we leave them to someone. But we don't really think of them as investments. We're not thinking like, my Schaefer legacy is going to be worth so much money when I retire. I'm going to sell it and buy a condo in Cabo. That is not my plan for my beautiful Schaefer legacy chrome. I'll tell you this, though. My Schaefer legacy in chrome, you'd have to give me... No. Yeah, I was just thinking you'd have to give me $1,000 for me to sell it to you, and it's not worth that. I wouldn't let it go for $1,000. I like it. So it has a lot of value to me. But what I'm talking about is sort of the anger, and some of the anger comes from perceived value, where people will say, and I know I've been talking about this a lot, so I'm not going to rehash it all, but your Magna Carta Mag 600 is not worth $350. Last week's episode, I think I made a pretty compelling argument that it's a fair price. It's a fair price for that. Briefly, gold nib, bendy gold nib, kind of rare, probably worth $200. Feed, $35 for an ebonite feed. Ebonite pen, $70. You're up to $300. Throw a couple pieces of gold on there. Boom, $350. It's fair. It's an ebonite pen. Now, the topic's about QC. So when I post a pen and you get hate, but then there's people who criticize pens for their QC issues. I review a pen and I look at it in that very Aristotelian way that I'm looking at this one instance of a thing. All I can control in this channel is my opinion and my perceptions. So I try not to stray too far from that. I am completely honest and open with you guys. And I do that as a way of being consistent, except for where we all are contradictory. And we all know about that. There's some things like, I'm not going to buy another pen. Hey guys, look at the new pen I bought. I recognize that. I usually call myself out for that. And sometimes my opinions change. I was really into very girthy pens, and now the pendulum's been swinging to really elegant, refined pens. I used to really love stubs. I still really love stubs, but the pendulum swung for me. I'm looking more at extra fines and fines these days. Very strange for me, but I'm going with it. I'm accepting myself. I'm changing. It's good. It's good to explore things. So I hear things. A lot of things from people I trust and love, and from people that I don't know. But when you hear things, you don't always know the cause or the source. Sometimes you know the source, and sometimes you know the cause, but you don't always. So you have to take it sort of and weigh it, right? But if all those things are true, if as many TWSBIs are breaking as it seems in my comments, and on my messages, and on Instagram that's being messaged to me, if that many Visconti nibs are absolute garbage, if the Magna Carta has issues, and from people that know how to use a flex pen, I would expect a flex pen to have a lot of issues with people, because very few people are used to writing with flex, myself included. Yeah, I didn't realize how lovely my 146 with a calligraphy nib was until I took a couple of calligraphy classes through Mont Blanc. And then I was like, oh, well, this is what it's supposed to do. At first I was just like, it doesn't feel like my Watchman 52.5. It doesn't feel like my Watchman 5. That was my filter. But I evolved. But the main point of this whole discussion, believe me, I do have one. I may get there a very roundabout way, but there's one summit to the mountain. There's many routes to get there, and we are getting there. We are climbing. Remember, when you get to the summit of the mountain, you're only halfway because you need to come back down. Very important. Okay. Why do we put up with this as consumers? If we're in an industry that is giving us subpar products repeatedly, why isn't there more out there calling them out for it? Why are people accepting? Is it because fountain pens are such a niche that we're sort of like happy with the crumbs we're given? Is it because for me, a lot of it would be hassle, right? If I bought a pen from a country that's hard to do business with, and there's a lot of customs and importing and time, like this ink was in customs for a month. It's ink. It was sitting in customs, I think at least a month. The original packaging had a really old date on it that I've since forgotten. So that's hard if you're trying to exchange something, right? That's why I like to buy domestically when I can. I've recommended if you buy the Magna Carta Mag 600, buy it domestically. Same with the Visconti. Your warranties tend to be valid. Now, that's a whole nother issue too, is warranties. I know the Magna Carta, I believe, has a 5-year warranty. And the Visconti has some kind of warranty. Now, Mont Blanc has the nib exchange. If you don't like a nib within, I think, 30 days, and please correct me, throw it in the comments, guys, you can exchange the nib, which is brilliant on Mont Blanc's part. That's good service. I think warranties are good, but they're limited in the fact that, I don't know if there's wiggle room to get out of them, but warranties are limited in that it requires action from us. It's sort of like you buy a new car, the car comes, you start it after 3 days, and the engine cracks in half. And then it's like, well, my engine cracked in half. Well, don't worry about it. We'll send a flatbed truck and we'll get you a new engine. But I don't have a car for how long? Well, the engine's got to come in from Stuttgart. So And the deliveries from Stuttgart are really slow these days. So you'll be fine. It's just going to take 3 months. And then your Pan America will be back on the road. So don't worry. I'm dating myself because the Pan America is discontinued, I believe. But warranties are fine, aren't they? But who wants to deal with it? So I guess now I'm going to make a pledge to you all. And you can call me on this because I'm making it here in the live show. We are 45 minutes in and I'm getting to the climax. I'm getting to the point before we get to the denouement. But this is what I'm trying to say. If I get something and it's garbage, I am going to make the video about the garbage. If some of this stuff is true, and I can only assume it is because I'm getting it from very, very reputable sources, when and or if it happens to me, if I get a cracky TWSBI or a Visconti with a crummy nib, the title of that video is Defective Visconti or Cracked TWSBI. I'll do something poetic. I'll find an angle that makes it lovely, but I'm going to show it. I wonder where all that is. I feel like there should be more pushback. I don't think we as consumers should put up with crummy stuff. Now, I think the pen sellers are lovely, and I think maybe that's our hedge. They've been assuaging a lot of our issues on this, right? When the Visconti Homo sapiens Bronze Age came into my life, Brendan Schmidt of Atlas checked it before it was sent. And any of you can call Brendan, you can call Just, you can call Tom, Odo, you can call, I suppose you can call Goulet too, customer service or whatever, ask for things. That's important. Maybe that's how we protect ourselves. But I don't think we should be putting up with shoddy products. And that's at any price point. Jinhao has let me down. I've told you about that. That out of all my Jinhaos, I've had, I don't, roughly a 50% good to bad rate. The best ones were the 9019 was brilliant. That was a really nice pen. And the 82s are really nice. Yeah, I really like those. Oh, Shaq MD, the man, the myth. $20 from Shaq MD. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. That really helps the channel quite a bit. I should mention, Shaq MD has a fantastic YouTube channel. It's very chill, and he has beautiful handwriting. A handwriting that I just admire so much and only wish I had. And maybe I'd learn to have better handwriting if I watched even more Shaq and slowed it down. Because you can slow down videos on YouTube. Lovely stuff, but thank you, my friend. It really helps the channel. I really appreciate it. So, I got to put this up. Shaq's got a comment. He's supporting the channel, so I got to put his comment up. For me, it was a Leonardo MZG PM1. Is that titanium nib? Yeah. So, that's what I mean. Some of these things aren't cheap. I think at any price point, it is unacceptable. Unacceptable. A little more acceptable at $3. I mean, you buy a Jinhao X159, $3. You know, it doesn't write. Well, what did you expect? It's $3. You buy a Montblanc 149 for $1,000, that better write. And it better be fantastic. Or someone needs to hear about it. And if it happens to me, I'm going to tell you all. I guess I did, right? I wasn't that happy with my Montblanc 146, and I made a whole video series about it. Although it was more personal. But still, I'm very honest about these things. You have to be. Suave P. Suave P. Love the channel. Found you recently. Haven't stopped watching. Suave, thank you, man. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Darren likes Hongdian. I've never featured one of their pens on this channel, but I intend to. In fact, I'm going to do a Majan shortly. I'm super excited about it. My wife has already called dibs on it, but I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to do it sort of like this, with a little window insert up there, and then me writing and reviewing it, because I'm really excited about it, and I got to give it to my wife. She really wants it. And I'm really behind in creating stuff. So yeah, cap issues, nib issues. Who it was? Tom Oda, right? Who had his dad working, checking the Visconti Homo sapien nibs. By the way, the Homo sapien, I feel kind of bad bashing it. But I think a lot of you know that I was curious whether or not it was true. And I was asking people who own pen companies, who I know a few, as you know, and they all said it was true. So it confirmed my fear. The one I have is beautiful, and it's so smooth, and it's so fun to write with. I have oxblood in it, usually do. It's absolutely, absolutely brilliant. So brilliant. So, I guess give me your stories about pen disasters. I really love to hear it. I'm keeping track of this stuff, and if something comes across my desk and it's not right, you can bet I'm going to share it with you. So whomever sends me pens, you better check them first. You should check them for anybody. So very, very good stuff. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat too, guys. I love having you all here. Ooh, Laura. I need to talk. Laura Kinetic. I mangled that. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Notech. Laura Notech just became a member. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's huge. It supports the channel. It's good for the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very kindly. And speaking of kind, I have to single out my psychiatrist, Lad Gardner, who I definitely vent to almost on a daily basis. Super chat, $25 for when my engine cracks in half. And it might. I just bought a new car. Just bought a new Jeep. It might just, who knows what it might do. I quite like it, but yeah. Thank you, Laddie. I love you, buddy. I really appreciate it. You do so much for the channel. It means the world to me. Thank you. Thanks to all the members. All you guys keep the lights on, and I appreciate it. If anybody's curious about membership, send me a message. Send me a message. You know what's funny? So I bought a new car. I think I told you I hate buying cars, but I really need one because mine was just at the verge of everything going wrong. I had a list of about $9,000 of repairs. It was 10 years old, Jeep Grand Cherokee, 150,000 miles. It was just time. So I went to get a new one and I bought it. It's a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm a simple man. I repeat myself. I've been driving Jeeps since 1993. So I just love them. So they're like anything you don't want on the car. I don't want a sunroof. Don't want it. It's the one thing I didn't want. So it has a sunroof and it goes from the front all the way to the back. And I love it. And I've never had a sunroof. I just didn't think I'd like it. And I love it. I adore the sunroof. Sometimes I open it even when it's cold and it goes all the way back. And it's probably something all of you are like. It's a sunroof. So what? I've never had one. And I just really enjoy it. Oh man, I got another person to single out. The mighty, the author, Kurt Geisinger. Lovely guy who I saw on the Zoom call. Cognoscenti and Illuminati members, we had a Zoom call on Sunday and Kurt was there. Kurt's always in the shadows. He always is like mysterious when he's on camera. So, but he doesn't like filter his voice like he's in witness protection, but he's close to that when you see him. But lovely guy. Thank you, Kurt. You're the man. I really appreciate it. You're the best. So very, very nice stuff. Love you guys. But this was a good show, I think. Sometimes I wonder. You know, my wife listens, and she usually gives me an opinion. She's such a great partner. I love my wife. I am so lucky, guys. And she's so good and constructive, and she'll tell me if something was a little off, or if something was good, or if my audio's bad. or something like that. She's just fantastic. I love her to death. But anyway, I think we're at the end of a long road here. So I'm probably going to wrap it up. I just want to say thank you all for being here and for watching. And I appreciate it if you'd subscribe. Thank you to the members for being here. I love you guys. New video on Thursday on Tom's Studio. I hope you guys enjoy it. It has some really beautiful B-roll. I've really been taking great efforts with my B-roll. By the way, I just bought another ring light. So now I'll have 2 ring lights. So B-roll is going to improve even more. I'm trying to bring you a quality product here. So I hope it works out, because I do try. Oh, wow. Handmade by Lorelei. $5 super chat. Great episode tonight. Thank you so much. That's really kind. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. It's so kind. It really is. All you guys, you move me. And I really appreciate it. You guys keep me motivated. I make this channel for you. And when I think of who my audience is, it's all of you. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate every one of you for all your support. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, this is so funny. See, I keep trying to leave, but the comments are funny. So this is funny. Steve Ruckle, we will inspect for sticker removal next week. I don't know how I feel about it, Steve. I don't know. It almost kind of balances the pen out in a weird sort of way, because it's gold, but I should take it off. I'm giving it to my wife to take off. So we're going to have another show next week. I got a really good concept for next week, so I think you're going to enjoy it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Love you all. We'll see each other again very, very soon. Further up the road. In this case, that's Thursday at noon. A new video, and next Tuesday night, another live show. So thank you all so much for being here. If you're tuning in now, watch from the beginning. It was a good episode. I feel good about it. So we'll keep trying, giving you good stuff. So take care, guys. Love you all. We'll see each other soon.